Don't worry about me, Lily. I've got to set things straight with Carter so he won't bother you anymore. Kevin had a very resolute look on his face. He gently patted Lily on the head and quickly walked out to go to the martial arts field. Lily stamped her feet on the floor in frustration. Suddenly, it occurred to her that she could get help from Professor Murdoch, and she ran over to the faculty office building. The news that Kevin was going to fight with Frank Carter soon spread all over the campus, and hundreds of students were gathered on the martial arts field. Of course, 90% of them thought that Kevin would lose miserably. At the same time, some of them felt pity for Kevin. There was a good chance he'd end up in the hospital.
Kevin, you're just a student, so nobody's expecting you to win. Why don't you just apologize to me now and I'll let you go?
Carter sneered arrogantly. But Kevin sneered right back at him. Carter, I think you're a little too sure of yourself. You're a bully and a loudmouth. If you want an apology, you're going to have to beat it out of me.
Well, just remember I was going to let you off with an apology. But now it's game on.
Carter immediately squared off in front of Kevin, ready to fight hand-to-hand. Kevin squinted at Carter, then he shrugged his shoulders and cracked his neck. The crowd went wild in anticipation of the fight. The students couldn't believe that Kevin had the guts to challenge the school's martial arts instructor. But most of them were cheering for Carter to toss Kevin on his butt. Just as Carter raised his fist to throw a punch at Kevin, there was a loud shout that could be heard across the entire field. "Stop that right now! Mr. Carter! Why are you fighting with a student?" Then Professor Murdoch and Lily squeezed through the crowd and walked up to the two of them.
"Professor Murdoch, your student has provoked me over and over. If I don't set him straight, how can I maintain discipline in any of my training courses?"
Carter had an extremely nasty look on his face. "No matter what Kevin has done, you're the teacher. How can you be so narrow-minded?" The professor put him in his place and reminded him of his duty as an instructor.
"But he has absolutely no respect for teachers."
Carter really didn't want to let Kevin go this time. Then Lily trotted up to her husband. "Are you okay, sweetie? What are you doing here?" The expression on Kevin's face quickly softened when he saw her. "Just go over there where it's safe, with Professor Murdoch. After I deal with this, we can go home and have a nice dinner." Professor Murdoch was about to smile, but controlled herself so that nobody would think that she wasn't taking this seriously. "Mr. Carter, how do you want to deal with this issue?" Professor Murdoch wasn't going to beat around the bush any longer. Carter replied arrogantly as he lifted his chin up and smirked.
"There's a simple solution. Let your student make a public apology to me right here, right now. Then when you see me on campus in the future, you'll stay out of my way."
Without waiting for Professor Murdoch to speak, Kevin told Carter what he thought of his idea. "That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Let's just fight."
"How dare you interrupt me while I'm talking to your teacher?"
Carter roared loudly at Kevin. "What are you doing, Kevin?" Lily shook his arm impatiently. The onlookers started shaking their heads. It looked like Kevin had lucked out when Professor Murdoch showed up. Otherwise, Carter probably would have beaten him to a pulp.
"Isn't there going to be a fight?"
A lot of the students were very disappointed. "You're asking for too much, Mr. Carter." Professor Murdoch was getting very flustered. But she was actually afraid that Kevin was going to beat up Carter. Professor Murdoch had only recovered a third of her strength, so she didn't have a chance of stopping Kevin if he took things too far.
"Too much? I don't think that's too much at all,"
Carter shouted at the professor. "If you want to fight, Carter, let's get started. If you don't want to fight me, then get the hell out of here." Kevin really didn't want to waste any more time with him. Carter got a fierce look in his eyes.
"Excellent. I've never met anyone who was in a hurry to get beaten up."
A lot of the onlookers were eager to see Carter take Kevin out. After all, hadn't he been asking for it?
"Lily, please stand a little farther away. I'm afraid you might get hurt."
Carter took a deep breath as he prepared to finally take a swing at Kevin. "He's right, Lily. You'd better stay away from us. If you're too close, I'll have to hold back." Kevin gently guided Lily to stand next to Professor Murdoch. "Okay, Carter, let's get going." Kevin grinned at him confidently.
"That's it. Nothing can save you now."
Lily was too squeamish to watch. She quickly turned her head and covered her eyes with her hands. She couldn't bear to see Kevin get hurt. Phoebe was making a fist, secretly praying that Kevin could avoid the blow. Even so, Penny was much calmer than the other people who were watching. She could tell that Kevin wasn't panicking at all. Not only was he confident, but he also had a smile on his lips. What is he laughing at? Penny wondered. A moment later, she saw why Kevin had been so confident. Even though Carter was quick, Kevin was quicker. As Carter stepped in to punch, Kevin easily avoided him. You could barely follow him with your eyes as he sidestepped the punch and countered to Carter's ribs. "You're much too slow." He kept readjusting, trying to find an opening, but he just couldn't find one. The crowd let out a collective gasp. They then held their breath as Carter ran at Kevin. They were all wondering how this guy they usually treated like a could be so strong. Carter was starting to panic. Nobody had ever handled him so easily, not even in professional competitions. Professor Murdoch was also staring at Kevin in disbelief. She knew that Carter was famous for his speed. Was he actually too slow for Kevin? "I'll tell you what, Carter. Out of respect for you because you're a teacher, you can take 3 punches at me." Kevin stood calmly in front of him, looking like an expert with far more years of experience than he actually had. "Don't be so," Sherwin Blair yelled. "Don't let him win, Mr. Carter," Mike shouted in encouragement. But Carter had reached his limit and knew he had to resort to cheating. His reputation was on the line. By offering to let him take 3 punches, Kevin was really insulting his skill and his experience. Lily and Phoebe both let out a cry. They didn't think Kevin would react in time. Most of the students expected to see Kevin lying unconscious on the ground. How could this be? Carter wondered. The entire field, which by now had hundreds of spectators, fell into a deep silence as they all looked at Kevin in disbelief. "You've got one last chance," Kevin sneered. "You're Carter growled. Kevin quickly countered with a palm to Carter's left shoulder. What kind of armor is he wearing? Penny frowned as she watched in amazement. Kevin was really grateful for the Alliance leader's gift. "I'd say you're out of chances, Carter. Now it's my turn." After Kevin said this, he hit him like a freight train. Carter had the wind knocked out of him. As he lay on the ground, "You're hurting our martial arts instructor," Blair shouted desperately. "I'll report you for this and have you kicked out of school." Mike saw his chance to look good in front of the crowd. "Get off of me! This is intolerable!" Carter's face was starting to swell up, and you could barely tell what he was saying. How could he ever live this down? Imagine a teacher being beaten this badly by a first-year student. But Kevin didn't listen to him. "Somebody save me! Get this madman off of me!" By now, Carter could barely breathe. Some of the students began to move in to help their teacher. How would Kevin stop them all without getting himself expelled?
Hi, Kevin here. If you're wondering what happens next, then stay tuned on the Pocket FM Universe channel for more episodes.